Does that sound good?
That sounds great.
Awesome. I'll try and keep it close.
Yeah,
I feel like you're really close.
I am. I like to have my lips on it.
No, no.
No homo.
I mean, if I touch my lips to it, does it like a kiss?
Well, I mean, I guess you would be kissing. Well, those are properly sanitized. I make sure that.
No. I every time I get up on the open mic stage, it's like I touch the shit to my mouth by accident, and you're like, fuck.
Yeah. I never really worried about that, but as of late, when I started learning more about herpes, that wasn't a good joke. Sorry.
No, I don't know nothing. I don't know nothing. I don't know nothing about herpes. No, I'm definitely not gonna touch the microphone.
I saw an empty Valtrex bottle in the bathroom.
Oh, really?
And I didn't know. I'm trying.
No.
Today, who do we have here?
Oh, this is Walker Moore. I'm an amateur comedian from East Texas.
Yes, you
Been
are.
doing it for about 8 months,
Mm-hmm.
and consistently for the last couple.
How do you? Well, before we get into any of that, what's your mic placement like? Since we started out on that note, what's your mic placement like? Do you like actually touch your lips to the mic? I have the mic. That was one of the things, all things considered, that was one of the things that I didn't realize was a really important thing.
Mm-hmm.
That the mic placement and how your voice carries into the crowd or into the mic and how it sounds over speakers.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even consider it.
Mm-hmm.
Some professional guys, Kevin Hollingsworth.
Mm-hmm.
He was the one who had taught me to like hold the mic at my chin.
Mm-hmm. I love Kevin. Kevin's really great. Like I think if I really think about like Tyler comedians, and there's like I think everyone has like really good jokes, but like I think Kevin is definitely like one of the like most like practiced.
Sure.
Yeah, put an effort. Very very thoughtful. You could. I feel like it all translates. Like when he's on the stage, you feel like all that stuff translates.
Yeah, I feel like he's surprising as well. Like when he comes up, he has the beard and the overalls, and it's not exactly what you think.
Mm-hmm. It's just kind of like persona. Like everyone has that like persona that first kind of like what's they're gonna say, and so that's why I kind of like think about myself like people are kind of like that McLovin looking guy.
Yeah,
and so I just kind of like, and so I'm kind of like I want to peel into my awkwardness, and I'm kind of naturally awkward in a way.
Yeah,
but also like I think it's just how I stutter on things, all this little small stuff. But I think that kind of thing just comes with practice.
No, I think it's little small nuances. Excuse me while I get rid of my gum. How rude of me. Sorry about that.
I'm
so I hate you had to see
backpack.
that. You just talked about sanitation. I hate you had to see that.
Listen, I work in the food service industry.
That makes it even worse.
No, bro. You see, when you see how the sausage is made, you don't want to know. It's like,
That's hilarious. But yeah, I used to work in the food service industry as well, and yeah. I did my best to stay clean. I think that's the goal.
No, I think it's like I remember when I first started, it was like being very very methodical, like making like because I had my same like hyper hygienic stuff, fancies. But it's kind of like a thing where nowadays still it's always kind of like I have to always remind myself that like people are germophobic and like sure. I shouldn't put my own impressions of like sanitation for other people.
Exactly. There's certain mannerisms that I had to like check at the door, like scratching my nose or just like even just picking my teeth with my tongue.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't realize how gross that was until someone looked at me and like made a face, and I was like, oh.
Yeah. All right. No, I have a joke about eating my boogers. So that's kind of. But what you were saying about like how you hold the microphone, all that kind of stuff. Yes. I just kind of like I'm always thinking about it, and I still need to watch myself back more and more. Mm-hmm. I think the main thing I think I want to do is like I just make sure that like I grab the microphone and I get the mic stand way the hell away from me because because I don't want to touch the microphone stand when I'm up there. Yeah,
I noticed that's the thing that I do too. Well, that I've become accustomed to doing is putting the mic away from my body, because when I started out, I would just take the mic off the stand and the mic would still be there. Mm-hmm. And you have people who they rest their hand on the mic stand and they use the mic stand as a prop sometimes, but for the most part, I've seen people rest on it, especially when they start bombing. Mm-hmm. After a while, the mic stand becomes a crutch, and you can literally see that in their act, and they just start to hold on to something. It's like, okay, this isn't going as planned. I need something to hold on to.
Because I was thinking that like when I would get up there, I was like, maybe I'll just like kind of like fidget around with it. Maybe that'll just kind of like add because I'm always jumping from joke to joke, and I'm always like kind of fidgeting around myself, and so I feel like maybe that would translate. But like it's just more things to think about, like as far as how you look. I don't know. I think it's one of those things where there's probably like a right way to do it as far as like stand up comedy, like quote unquote right way. But it's like also that you can break the rule, do it however the hell you want.
That's very true. That's another thing that's an unwritten rule of comedy is that it's subjective. So like there's no telling what it is that you're going to do or how you're going to act. Your mannerisms, just like you spoke on, your awkwardness, like all of those things add into who you are and convey your personal message. Like, the audience gets a real feel about who you are. And that's what like I said, I'm not talking like from a professional perspective. These are just the things that I've noticed so far.
I think it's like definitely because you can convey whatever message you want to when you get up there, but because people don't know who you are.
Yeah.
But that's why I also like I think authenticity translates, and and it's okay I think it's okay to lie in comedy, but it's just very obvious when you do, and and so like convey, like I don't know, I like to convey emotions or feeling or like kind of that, I don't know, I want a relatable premise. So I want like someone to be like, I've been there, like that kind of thing.
And I think when you're an amateur and you're doing open mics and nobody's coming to see you, so I think being relatable actually helps a lot, because if they don't like the jokes, they do like the authenticity.
Well, you mean you've gone to a lot of different like open mics. What's your experience like just as a black comedian and then different areas in East Texas, or like because you're talking about Louisiana too?
I appreciate that. That's no, honestly, yeah. I honestly feel like we have a slight advantage.
Really?
Yeah, because it's almost as if most of East Texas is predominantly white, so like it's the fact that they see a black person doing something that's not sports related. I think it's pretty exciting for them. And then when you can actually tell a coherent joke, and it's not exactly, it's not full of how would you say, like, it's not just a hood joke. It's something that can translate across multiple audiences. It's not so niche to where you single out white people, or that it's so niche that it's something that they just can't relate to altogether. One thing I learned about being a black comedian is that white people don't want to hear about being white all the time. And I thought that was gonna, it's kind of like a cheesy joke, it's like fart jokes and getting punched in the nuts. Like it's the old classics, but that's not what people want to hear. They want to hear something that they want to hear a part of you, an intimate part of you that's, that they can relate to. So my goal as a black comedian, is to break down those barriers and to say, hey, I'm thinking about the same shit that you are. I have the same problems you do. I have the same fears that you do. So I think when a white audience, and that's what it mostly is, especially out in Tyler, out in Rose City, I've only been to maybe 2 events. I've been to 2 events so far where the crowds were predominantly black, and I had to change up my whole style because the type of comedy that black people want to see is more acting out. They like big moves. They like acting out. You can't. Yes. They're very visual. They want to be entertained. So you can get up and start singing. You can get up and start dancing and tell a joke on top of that. The joke doesn't have to be good, but if the dancing and the singing is good, it's good enough. Or if you're making a joke about how the singing is bad and you do it, but they want to see it acted out. They want to see you moving. They want to see you moving. They want to, and as you can tell, like, I'm really gesterical with the way I speak, with my hands and all. So, naturally they want to see that. They want to be entertained. They want you to act it out. They want to see movement. Then they need the one thing that I do notice, they don't take on to dry comedy too well. They don't adhere to dry comedy. It has to be it has to be flamboyant,
I mean,
slightly flamboyant.
I've met black people that like The Office.
No, that's very true. That's a really
joking.
No, you're exactly right. You're exactly right. But the crowds that I've been to, they like The Office, but they like The Office at home.
No.
They'll watch The Office. They'll like Super Bad. Those comedies are like kind of like they're not like really flashy or anything like that. But and there's a lot of nuanced jokes in those, but they like that at home. Mm-hmm. But when they go out, if they're gonna pay to see something, or if they're gonna pay to see somebody, you have to put on a show. Mm-hmm. They want to see movement. They want to see the back and forth. They want to see the acting out. They need that, and they feed off of it. Because sometimes, it was just like I said. There was one show that I did predominantly black crowd. The jokes weren't too good, but the acting out was really good, and they loved that. Mm-hmm. But there'll be times where I would stop. I would go into the act. I would get into the act and continue the act, and they like that too. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I've noticed the differences. Like white crowds, like for instance, just like at Rose City, if you get too deep into the act, they're like at a certain point, it's like, what are you doing now? Okay, like we get it, we saw that. Well, like you don't have to keep doing it.
I don't know. It's like you mentioned. Like I think people are more interested in your experience, and then I think hasty generalizations, those kind of things. Mm-hmm. I think it's kind of like, I think to me, it's kind of like, it's not funny if we say it. I think some things are like so true, everyone knows, but nobody wants to hear about it. Because we've talked about these things a lot.
Yeah.
And so it's also that selfishness for white people that are like, I'm good. I'm nice. I like black people, It's kind of like, right. That's like that. Like, I think there's some of that where they're kind of like, I'm one of the good ones. Mm-hmm. And so I don't want to hear about what you have to say about this.
That's another thing. White crowds, if you can't, how can I say this? But you can't say anything that would make them feel uncomfortable about laughing at it. Mm-hmm. So some people won't laugh because it's like, if you say like, the N-word, and it's a joke that's like, that's making fun of black people. Mm-hmm. You can say a joke that's making fun of black people, but honestly, I'm making fun of myself and the things that I do. But how they come off, they might not be comfortable laughing at it. Mm-hmm. And I've heard that from a few other comedians as well. A few other black comedians as well.
I've heard Andrew Schultz talked about just the idea of like, when you're making a joke in front of like, if you were making a joke to a white crowd of a black joke, and we're all sitting in this room laughing, it's like, what are we doing? It's not about us like laughing together, having a good time. It's like it feels more strange if there's not a single black person in the audience.
Yeah.
And so I think that kind of thing translates, and so I think people are kind of, who knows? There's so much that goes into that. We've talked about like attitudes of people not really. Everyone takes themselves really seriously.
Yeah.
And I think in a way you don't want to admit that something like that's funny. I don't know. It's strange.
And I think once you're able to peel back that mask and make people laugh regardless, I think, and get people so comfortable to the point where they realize that they're just laughing at jokes and they're not, they let their guard down.
It's kind of crazy to think that, I was thinking about how like downstairs, we're telling we're comedians. And with telling people just like you're a comedian, that kind of like that warrants a lot of like unwarranted respect.
Yeah,
like people are kind of like, oh, you're a comedian, that's great. And I'm like, well, you haven't heard me tell a joke yet.
Yeah,
but like I do like that confidence. I've been telling people I'm a comedian. Like, it's just like my intro. That's just my intro line now.
Yeah, for the first time, I had changed my bio to say comedian on Instagram, and I was like, it's a little pretentious.
I don't know, man. I think that's all. It's about how you feel and about who the hell else anyone else cares.
Exactly.
But
eventually, I came to that conclusion. But in the middle of it, I was kind of like,
well, because I think it just it's all, speaking to your authenticity, it's speaking to who you are and saying who you are, and then because I think like I've thought about this a lot, how confidence is not caring. Confidence is just not caring, and so like I feel like I'm a terminally online individual, And so I consider myself to be one of like the first Minecraft kids. One of those kids raised on YouTube videos and all this internet garbage. I let all that stuff in.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I kind of have like I'm not naturally social. It took me dropping out of college when I was 22 and then going to wait tables at Chili's until and it took years and years for me to finally have that confidence.
That's really interesting you say that, because when I had it was just like we spoke on earlier, when I had got into the food service industry, I was a server at Papa's Seafood. And like I did the training and everything, and then it was like, all right, here you go, here's your first table. And I go out to the table and I'm like sweating bullets. And like the crazy part is that I've spoken in front of hundreds of people before at meetings, and I've done PowerPoint presentations at meetings, and nothing prepared me for going out and making a salad in front of people.
It's definitely like it's like, for me, the attitude was like I was so worried about what is this person going to ask me for? Am I going to be prepared for like whatever they've got to say to me? And I want
I'm terrified if they ask for ketchup.
It's just like I'm terrified they're going to ask me for something. I don't know what it. I don't know
what it's going to be.
I don't know what it is. I don't know how am I going to help. Like and all that nervousness, I feel like translated to people just thinking, oh, this dude's weird. This dude's weird. But I think that kind of stuff takes repetition. Like stand up comedy. Like the first time doing stand up, it's like people, you just don't really understand kind of what you're getting yourself into, as far as like there's just so many different little things to think about. And so like I hope as you do it more and more often, like you're gonna be able to like anticipate all these random small little things that you wouldn't think about. It's supposed to get easier to handle all these little small things. It's like because have you been heckled heavily?
A little bit.
Because
not really hard, not really heavily. Like the heckling that I've gotten hasn't been like negative heckling. It's like it's just kind of like people like chiming in on a joke, like, oh no, like, are you crazy? Like I was like the one event that I was talking about earlier, I had this woman in the crowd. I had said a joke about Trump, and the woman in the crowd was like, are you crazy? Oh my God, are you crazy? I didn't know how to handle it. But that was probably like one where I engaged with her, but I kept going too long. I actually showed that video. I had it on video, and I showed that to a professional comedian who's been in the game for like 14 years. I showed it to him, and he told me, he said, what you did was actually good. He said, that was funny. Nobody laughed at it, but he said, that was actually funny though. And so, but when you're on stage, if you're not hearing the laughs, so, but because I think people were, because that's another thing about heckling, is that it takes the audience off guard too. It catches them off guard too. And like some people don't exactly know how to, react to it. And some people will laugh at it, and some people will be like kind of embarrassed, like kind of cringe, like, did you see him talking? Like, don't be rude. But to a heckler, that doesn't matter. But he told me, going back to that, he told me, he said what you said was funny. He was like, don't continue to engage with her just to get the laugh back. Say what you're gonna say and move on, keep it moving. He said you lingered because he said after a while you could tell you were trying to get that laugh, like you were trying to do something that would make the crowd erupt, but you already did it. Don't focus on it. Say that and just keep it moving. And if they keep heckling, that's when you go in on them.
I think it's very like on the fly, and it's very like trying to find a joke. I don't know. I think because I've never been like heckled heavily or anything like that. Just like little small bits from then and there.
What was your experience like? What was that like?
I think you were there for one of them where this guy was. I made a joke about how like if you see me here drinking every Monday, you should mind your fucking business. Like, and someone said, I think you should drink more. And I said, I think you should mind your fucking business. And so, that like, so the small little things I think are good, but I've never like had someone be like, I think that's the fear of comedy is like people, I'm going to get up there and someone's going to say something mean to me, or I'm going to make me look like a fool. I think that's a lot of the initial fear of comedy.
I think so. I haven't, like I said, I've never had a run-in with an aggressive heckler or like a drunk person. I've heard Tyler tell like the story about, I think you and I both
It was
were
like
there
that
when he was
lady.
telling that story about that lady that was
Mhm.
crying out loud that just broke up with her husband or something
I
like that.
think
Like,
I
was
think we're not going to experience that so much unless we were like booked for a show.
right? Yeah.
Because unless you're like at like I think at a nicer show like a Friday Saturday night show,
Hmm.
whenever people are paying good money to go to tickets, I think that's when people we're having like it's a weird place in stand-up comedy because I think talking to a lot of comedians about like just like crowd work and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like I think there's a lot of more traditional comedians that really don't like crowd work because
Yeah.
because it invites people to talk during their performance. And
Yeah.
so that because you're trying to convey an idea or something else, and now you have some other people jumping in.
Yeah.
But I think that's a lot of people's attitudes toward comedy is people think I have something funny to say, I'm going to interrupt.
Yes.
And so
And you know, some people don't feel like that's rude. They don't feel like that's
No.
rude at all. They feel like they're adding to the element of
Yeah.
the show.
Because they think they're so funny, and even I mean even if they said something super duper funny,
Mhm.
like it's still just it's just
It derails you. It
Yeah,
derails
no.
you, that momentum, that train of thought. And it's like you have to pick back up. I mean, I guess you would have to be a really professional. I mean, if for someone who's an amateur,
Mhm.
if you're doing open mics and someone derails your set, I mean, it's bad enough you only got 3 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, but if you're a professional, you have an hour, you can kind of recover.
Yeah.
You can get back on track. But but if you're just trying to do an open mic, you're trying to just get your 5 minutes
Yeah.
in. It's someone derails your show, it's going to take away from everything that
I
you've
think
done.
that's the attitude of like being very controlling. So it's like if you like if you have like your set super duper planned out and you go up there and then like you kind of get derailed a little bit, you're like, okay, well now all the prep that I have is thrown out the window.
Yeah.
And so like it's kind of like being that adaptable, like it's funny how just we've talked about people all over. I'm thinking like culture, anthropology, different people. And so I think being a comedian, being able to like be flexible to the room, like those kind of things. I don't know, because you're hyper aware of that. Like I think you're hyper aware of that. I'm hyper aware of that. It's just like
Yeah, I think our nerves
changing
haven't.
your tone, and all
I think
those
our
things.
nerves haven't had a chance to settle in yet either. But I mean, because I wonder how long that takes.
I think I don't think I think it depends on the level. I think it's gonna be easier for this level of open mics. I definitely don't feel as stressed about a open mic because I feel like at this point I have enough jokes to pull from. So it's like I'm gonna go tonight. It'll be like, oh, okay. Now I'm just gonna go look at the list of things that I've already said, and so now I can just repeat these other things.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry too much about it. But I think whenever you're kind of like it's just you raise the bar to the next part. You're like, okay, I got to produce thing. Now I'm gonna like kind of lay things out, plan it differently. This like because now you're putting on a show. I think it's
Right.
just like that attitude's never gonna get. It's just that anxiety gets bigger and bigger, or like you'll get comfortable with the lower anxiety, but the bigger it gets bigger, the higher you go up.
Yeah, I think so. I think at a certain, it's kind of like we spoke on this before when we were at the bar. Is that the glass ceiling? You can feel your comedy get to a certain point where it's not pushing any further because like you'll get like 5 minutes down or 3 minutes. You'll get 3 minutes down and it's like okay, good, and then you'll get 5 minutes and it's like okay, I got 5 minutes of material, and then it's like that big leap to 10 minutes. Because there's no in between. I wish there was like a 5 to 7 to 10, but there's not. It's like once you have 5 minutes, they expect you to have 10.
Wow.
And once you get to 10, it's like
Have you done it 10 minutes?
I have.
I because I was talking to Kevin about this because a lot of my jokes are like set up in punchline, and he was kind of mentioning how like if you look at like Burt Mitchell's sets is like a comedian I really like, and he does all that those kind of. Are you familiar with him?
Burt Mitchell, yes.
But like he does whenever people were watching his sets, they eyes would kind of glaze over at some point.
Yeah,
so they're kind of like, yeah, I get it. And so I think like that attitude of who did I see? I saw someone else recently that was kind of a one-liner comedian, and they started the show by like doing a little bit of crowd work and just like asking people what their names were,
right.
And the crowd wasn't interesting at all, but but just his ability to like say people's names was that those kind of things were able to get people to laugh. And so he was kind of like able to like almost make his one-liner short set of probably like 5 minutes last out into like 15, 20.
That's true. a cheat code that I use that I try because I've heard of like professional comedians where they don't like guys that go on stage and they're like you know, all the ladies in the house, are there any ladies in the house, and like, oh, where the fellas at, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard like that was like cheap, and I didn't know that at the time. I was like, holy, I thought that was like just a way to like buy some time, but it's a cheap way to buy time.
Mm-hmm.
So when instead of doing something like that, I will go in and talk about the venue.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done that successfully.
I like that.
I've done that successfully at several locations out in a few out in Shreveport. But you know, it's like, especially if it's like a new place that's hosting an open mic, and it's like, you know, you can look at the building and just kind of make fun at it, poke fun at it. Like there's the Corner Lounge, which is a gay bar.
Mm-hmm.
I went in and the walls are all gray.
Mm-hmm.
It's gray with black trim, and I was like, "It's not what you expect from a gay."
I thought gay guys had style.
Exactly, and I poked fun at them for it, and so like I said, I guess they just got to the primal part and said, "Bitch, this is it, okay?" And so and I think another joke I said this looks like a nightmare. I said this looks like a place where you would have a nightmare about being a stand-up comedian.
Mm-hmm.
And like all those things went over well, but that was just me just being observant, and everybody else is like pointing out things around the crowd. Everyone else is seeing it, and it's a good 3-minute stretch.
Mm-hmm.
Just off talking about the place alone.
There's all the same playbooks, and I think like new comedians that don't have any experience or not new comedians that just don't watch any other comedians. I think there's like all the cheap ways to get laughs, you know.
Yeah.
But I think the thing about those is that the more you do them, I think you'll just run into like trying to replicate something.
Yeah.
Or like it's just more of that, like less of that authenticity. Yeah. And then less of like, because like a room like that, you know, you're kind of like, where all the guys at, where all the ladies at. Mm-hmm. I think that kind of thing will work probably, like it probably work more often than not. Mm-hmm. But then you're gonna run into the crowds where they just kind of stare at you.
Yeah.
And so and then you're like, okay, you're just this guy trying to bring energy to this crowd that just really they don't want to be. For sure. They're just tired or something, you know.
And if somebody says that in front of you,
mm-hmm.
you're screwed.
Mm-hmm.
Like then you can't say it. Like you can't, if somebody does that ahead of you and then you come out and do it, they're gonna be like,
yeah,
what the
yeah, exactly.
so yeah, it's one of those. I guess it's more for the host. If you're the host, you can do something like that,
mm-hmm.
you know. But if you're one of the acts, if you have a 5-minute set, yeah, I don't advise.
Well, we talked a lot about like stage presence. I think you have good stage presence, mm-hmm. And you move around. You move around the stage too, which I like.
Yeah.
But like, so I think because like I think the energy that you have translates.
Yeah.
But there's different attitudes though. Like, you know, Tyler Elliott, he's kind of he plays into that awkwardness, that those kind of things, and I that's kind of comedy that I gravitate towards. Mm-hmm. But I definitely really like the people or the professional comedians that are able to just like walk on stage, you know, start yelling, and then the crowd's all about it. You know, it's like now everyone's on board, coming in hot, that kind of thing.
You know, that's one thing because I had to pull myself out of that because I wanted to be dry as well because of my voice. Mm-hmm. My voice really doesn't because I mean some people are limited to their natural abilities and their talents and that's just part of it. But I have a problem. Well, I did have a problem with people understanding me because I have an accent. I have a thick accent. I also have a deep voice. And so like all of those things didn't necessarily, when I would say jokes, there would be certain parts of the joke that should have been picked up on that don't, or like the punchline doesn't get heard. And they're kind of like, huh? And I've seen that too. I've seen people like faces kind of like, what did he say? Mm-hmm. Like, you know, so I gravitated towards being dry and I wanted to be dry, but it just wasn't my style. Mm-hmm. I just couldn't do it. Like I'm really active. So like I had to change my voice. Mm-hmm. I had to change the way So I went home and I did some enunciation, pronunciation. I did all of the practices, the tip of the tongue, the top of the teeth, you know, all the lollies and all that. Mm-hmm. practice and just got more clarity when I was speaking into the
It's really
mic.
cool that you did that and you were able to see results with that.
Yeah.
And I think it speaks to just like trying different things too. Because I've mentioned a lot is that I don't think I'm a good storyteller, but I still do want to try because I think it's just another muscle and those kind of things that I need to try.
And honestly, I mean, who are we to say?
Mm-hmm.
You know, we don't know who we are just yet, especially in this time period. I mean, it's nothing. I mean, we're just a small sliver.
I think it's important to focus on just like presence. So like that so like you are who you are and you're making your jokes, and so I think it's like just doing the best with the tools that you have right now.
Right now,
and because
learning how to tell a joke.
Yeah, and because I think all that stuff just comes easier. So like I think it's this idea of contentment and ambition, where I think you can kind of drive yourself crazy with ambition because because you're like kind of you're focused on the result. You like this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen, and then this is gonna happen. I think that's especially bad for people with ADHD because I've talked to a lot of people with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because I think ADHD people are really motivated by like anxiety.
Yeah.
And so it like ambition is kind of like you have a list of things you have to accomplish, and if you don't accomplish, it's kind of like that self-imposed anxiety of like I got to accomplish this or else
the world ends, or my life ends.
And so the way I see comedy, as far as like my contentment with, I want to like do my set every week or like just do throw some random jokes, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I just know intuitively that if I just keep kind of like doing this repetitive process, I'm going to get better at it. And so and being focused on like making sure that I'm having a good time.
Yeah.
And like all those like little things.
For sure. I mean, I think that's more important than anything. Are you enjoying what you're doing? Like, are you just going up there because you're a masochist and you just want?
Well, and because the attitudes right now, especially as far as East Texas, learning how to write a joke, learning how to present those things, like only the top 1% of comedians are making any money.
Yeah.
Like like everyone else is just
trying.
Yeah. And I think that's that's like the kind of the glassy eyed people of like getting into stand-up comedies. You want to be like rich and famous. You want to be rich and famous, but like that's just it takes so much to get there that you're not going to stumble upon it. Like just think about all the funny people that kind of like they blow up and go viral.
Right.
Not many of them stick around.
They don't.
And especially the ones that don't have an experience doing comedy.
Yeah,
like,
they don't have any staying power. It's like they'll be there for a minute and then after that, people are just they want some version or a copy of what made them famous. It's kind of like, not to pick on anybody, but a prime example is that the backpack kid. Kid.
Was that like the Fortnite guy?
No. That's the kid that was doing the dance.
He would do the floss.
He would do exactly.
That was so stupid. And then, but that's when you find yourself in a niche. So it's like people that blow up on TikTok and then they just keep doing the same TikTok thing over and over
again. And I was worried about that. I was actually hoping that I wouldn't go viral doing one thing because I didn't want to be stuck. What's the guy from Good Times? JJ Dolomite. Not Dolomite, but the guy he says Dynamite.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. As soon as I see him, I'm gonna go crazy.
I know. It's a little embarrassing that I'm black and I don't know the name, but it's just not coming to me.
But like I think that's kind of like the attitudes of the internet. So it's like if you follow someone, like you expect something, and if they don't continue to produce that thing, you're not going to follow them.
Yeah,
and so like as far as like being a comedian, and like the most valuable thing is local. I don't have any following. I don't really have my social media. I'm not trying to pump my Facebook. I'm not trying to pump my Instagram or anything like that. But I think the networking is the most important thing because you're meeting new people and like your value as a comedian, like being able to stand in a public space and gain attention. I think that's more valuable than I think that's almost more valuable than a following because you're able to build a more valuable base.
Right.
Does that make sense?
No, it does.
Because the people that are in front of you, it's like online dating. Like when you're like swiping, you match with someone, you guys talk for a little bit, and then nothing happens.
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
my opinion about that is because you're not a real person to them. Like
Exactly.
and it's you're only a real person to each other until when you meet each other. Then so it's like getting that to happen. And so when you're like, you know, on an open mic or you're in front of someone talking to someone, like you're a real person. Like I think that stands out more than anything as far as like the internet, like because the way that people engage with the internet, everyone has like their own way of things that they like, and you don't really go outside of that. So you're not gonna like. It's really hard to convince someone to like if you were to blow up on TikTok, how are you gonna convince this random person that saw your reel to like be valuable to you? Like, how are you gonna convince them to give you money? Like that I just mean like.
Yeah, that's true. What's the next step in that? I guess the next step in that is proving that you're resourceful, or proving that you can provide consistent entertainment, proving that you can give them what they're looking for. And I guess what they're looking for is a dopamine hit or a laugh, or you know, or something that just attention. They're trying to sell you their attention, and you need to provide the resource to give them to have that.
Yeah.
And I don't know the exchange. I don't know. So many people are looking for different things. Like I said, like I've had videos that have went viral on TikTok, but it didn't amass me like a grand number of followers or anything like that, you know. But
I do think that naturally though, is like as far as the algorithm and things like that, if like you know you get these numbers and then I think it makes your account more likely to hit those numbers again.
Yeah,
because they're gonna want to push you more into the algorithm. But there's who this, that, and the other. But I just think like the skills as far as like doing stand up, those are value. They all transfer.
Yeah, they do. And it also helps. It helps you out as a comedian as well. It helps you to understand how many eyes are on you, because it's like I saw a meme where they showed like numbers of views compared to like people in a room. And they show like if you're getting 100 views, like imagine 100 people in a room, like that's a lot of people with eyes on you. Imagine all of those people. Imagine a room with the number of views that you're getting on your videos, watching your video that you posted on a projector. That's a lot of people. So so that's another thing that that you shouldn't get frustrated. I mean, for someone who is taking that angle, who is pursuing that angle, they shouldn't get frustrated by the number of views that they get, because it's still a lot of people. Especially if it's more than 10 people, that's a lot of people. Being a stand-up comedian, I was going to touch on this. You had mentioned earlier, but being somebody that's real to them. A professional guy had told me to make sure you stay after the show. Make sure if you're doing an open mic, make sure you stick around. Like, don't just do the open mic and just leave. And because there are some people out there that have never even seen or met a real comedian. Like, even though we think that what we're doing is small to us because we're looking so far ahead, you know, we're looking at that 1%. We're watching them. There are people who look at us on stage and can't even imagine how we even got on stage, or can't even imagine how we put those words together to make them laugh. And like, we're literally doing magic. It's at a small scale, but we're doing magic.
No, I think that's a crazy idea to me, is that someone to have a fan, someone to be like, you know, I think that's a crazy idea to me. Yeah. But you know, if I keep doing it, maybe that'll happen eventually. But
no, I think you have fans already.
No, I definitely have my friends and all that, and I've tons of support, and I have people. I get all sorts of, you know, I get good advice from comedians, so I know I'm doing things right. Yeah. But also like, I was saying how like people will tell me that they love me and I don't believe them. You know, I'm just kind of like, I don't know, man. I'm like, I think I suck. like I don't know. It's like,
I mean, that's a good way to stay humble.
No, I don't know. Yeah. I know. I just mean, I think I'm just very like.
I mean, we're hypercritical.
No, very critical. Yeah. No, I think
especially if you have
very skeptical.
I mean, for people with ADHD, we're pretty hypercritical of ourselves because, you know, we're seeing ourselves from so many different angles and comparing ourselves to people who are at the top. I mean, it's ridiculous that we would even do something like that we would compare ourselves to someone who's like a legend, like a Joe Rogan or Chris Rock or Dave Chappelle. The fact that we would even compare ourselves to them, but That's our end goal, and
Yeah.
and it's just like you spoke on. We can't focus too much on the end result. There is a walking along, and I've seen so many people who have gotten burnt out that would start comedy, and they would actually be good. They would be good.
Mm-hmm.
They would start out, and then like the third month into it, it's just like, how come I'm not famous yet?
Yeah.
It's like, how come I don't have? Why am I not being featured? Like, why are you not trying to put me on the feature list for the Friday night lineup? Or what are you talking about? How come I can't? It's like, it's because you still stuck.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. But understanding that you're not good enough, and understanding the things that make you not good enough. Okay, so you have to look at it and say, okay, I do suck, but what are the reasons why? Why do I suck?
Mm-hmm.
What are the things that what am I doing as compared to somebody who's a veteran? You know, when you go on, you know, like these guys around here, Tyler, PJ,
Mm-hmm.
Kevin, you know, Nikki Dips, you know, just so many names.
I think it's all about the value proposition. Like as far as like these shows and produced shows, like they're not gonna book us for a show unless they thought we would bring a crowd, unless we'd bring more money, unless we'd bring more attention to the show.
Yeah, that's
and so I think
that's a factor. That's a factor too, because like at the end of the day, especially Rose City,
mm-hmm.
you have to understand that he's running a business too.
Mm-hmm.
Like he has a business to operate. It's just not, you know, practice time at the Apollo,
mm-hmm.
which, you know, of course, like we all wish it was like that, but he has bills to pay. Yeah, and you know that doesn't get the bills paid.
And I think I definitely like what they're doing the Rose City, because it's just it's a professional comedy club in East Texas, and I think people are kind of like, I think it's a really good introduction for the people in the area, because it's it's like this is a professional thing, and so I think it kind of like,
yeah. And he runs it like a professional place too. I know he's gotten on. I ran the light. Oh my god.
Yeah, you gotta cut it. You gotta cut it out. If you want to like it, you gotta cut it out.
That's the one thing I didn't realize. You know, like just being an amateur and just trying to learn the game, I didn't realize how such a serious offense that is. That's like slapping the Pope.
To me, it's like he works all the time. Those like Mondays are just another day. Like it's like, and so it's just kind of like, I want to go home too. And he wants to put on a show, but like, but at the same time, it's like this is amateur hour.
Exactly. And like nobody wants to hear your fart jokes. And you know, it's if you're running a light and it, you know, you got your stuff that you're just trying to figure out. Like, come on, man.
I think my attitude with comedy has been like, I don't have anything valuable to say, or like I think I have something valuable to say,
mm-hmm.
you know,
personally.
But I also think there's no reason anyone should care, and so it's kind of like, I almost have to like, I either need to get people on board with whatever I'm saying, or I need to know that I'm just going to say this and I'm not going to care what the response is. I'm not going to care what the response is, and I'm not going to care what the response is.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think that's you know, that's something that's helped me out a lot too. You gave me that bit of advice, like just say what you're going to say and not care how people react to it, and I did that, and it helped me feel a lot more comfortable. And you know, there were several times that I did it unknowingly, like semi-consciously. You know, you get on stage, because I think you get to a certain point, especially if you're killing it, if you're having a good night, like it's like, oh, I can just pull out, you know, let me try this too. You know, let me try this one. This is something I've been thinking about, or this is something I've been wanting to try. Let me go ahead and give this a run.
It is a really cool experience. It's like I don't think there's anything like it, especially like addiction of attention, and but like whenever you get the room all on board and everyone's laughing, and it's because people want you to succeed, and I think that's where it comes from. Is like where the entire room is like ready to laugh, and they want to see you succeed, and so it just feels like you're just saying anything, and everyone's laughing and laughing and laughing. That's I feel like that's a pretty amazing feeling, but also just the idea that next week you're gonna come back. You're going to say the same joke.
You're going to say the same thing.
And it's not going to work.
It's not going to have that same hit. So, it's not going to drop the same way.
And being adaptable.
Yeah. But I think that's the part that we are in is kind of that phase where we get tired of our own shit. Like, even though it works on the crowd, I always wondered, like, how come these guys are killing it? I see professionals, or I see guys go up and they're killing it, and they're not even like smiling, like they don't even crack. Like maybe like they might say something on the fly, like an ad lib on the fly that makes them like crack up a little bit. But like their jokes and it's like they're just with a straight face, and I'm like, oh, I get it now.
Presentation.
Yeah, it's presentation, and you know, and I've gone back. You know, I've said some, especially. Let me put it like this. Let me preface with this. Like I got to a point where I was getting consistent laughs, you know, and so I would get really excited, and I'd be so excited to try new stuff, and I would go up every week, just new material, just new stuff all the time. And I got to the point where I was like, and I watched one of my videos, and I noticed that I was laughing like almost after every one of my jokes, and I was like, holy shit, that's annoying. Like I look like an idiot, like up here, like cracking up, like I'm up here saying my jokes and like kind of like cracking up behind it. I was like, oh.
I think
I don't know.
I think it's an interesting thing as far as like the clip, the video, like the energy in the room, like all those things, because the energy of the room isn't going to translate to the video.
Yeah.
And so I think when you're kind of like up there and you're playing to the crowd, like that's not going to translate well into video. And so it's kind of like, why is this person spending this time talking to this person? Like it's like but because I think personally, I want the crowd to know that I'm having a good time.
Right.
Like I like, and so because like I said, I think that translates. One of my inspirations for a new comedian that was one of my biggest inspirations from starting was Cam Patterson. I think I mentioned that.
Yeah.
Because I just like his simple setups and setup punchlines. I think his jokes are relatable. And then but like one of the things that he did that I thought was cool was when he just like made a joke on Kill Tony about how he clogged the bathroom. And it was just so cool to me that like he came up with that like 7 minutes ago. You know.
Yeah. And so I think once you get the formula down, because there is a formula to it. I mean, I that's something I didn't realize. It's more than just saying funny stuff, and that's what Patrice O'Neal said. That he was like, I was just getting up saying funny shit. Like I didn't know how to put a joke together, and somebody came to me and was like, "Hey, look, this is how you do it." And that's what I was doing at first. I was just saying funny stuff. Like I was just get up but there's a time limit on that. There's an expiration on that. You can only just like we talked about the fart jokes and getting hit in the nuts, white people versus what's the deal with white people? We do this, they do that. There's a time limit on all of that. You can only get away with so much.
I don't think it's necessarily an expiration. I think it's just more of that adaptability of like I think the more you present a joke, the more you're kind of understand what makes it funny. Like I think, or just like the phrasing or like the presentation. And so and I think that's what speaks to like why practicing writing jokes like continuously, that kind of thing. It's just because like people's attitudes they write a joke. Like I don't like comedians' attitude of like I want to protect this joke.
Yeah,
this joke is so funny, and I think that's more of an attitude with like amateur people because it's like what I have is special.
Yeah,
when really it's not.
Yes, when really it's not.
And it's about presenting that thing, and so you can make something else that's better. And maybe you do have a home run hitter. But like I still think it's a poor mentality to like kind of try and protect something because you can't protect it.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, you have to realize what you're doing is art, and art isn't meant to be kept in the shadows. It's not meant to be for yourself. Art is for the world. And I think it's just who we are as people, that when you create something, you want to hold on to it naturally because it's your baby. It's your baby. It's your because it's more than just a joke now. Now you see it as a moment in time that you can't let go of it because it was the dopamine rush that you got from that. Like that joke created a moment for you where you solidified your comedy career, or like that changed your mind about comedy, or just like you said, Cam Patterson, when he said that joke, it's like, holy shit, like now you're getting like things in your mind and you want to create those same moments. And when you do recreate that moment, it's like, oh wow, this is magical to me. So you're holding on to a moment. By holding on to a joke, you're holding on to a moment that you should let live because other people need that. Like the art world needs that.
And it's crazy that how like the muscles of comedy and just the different comedians, it just feels like I still really feel like this kind of whiplash when I see a new comedian that I haven't seen before, that I'm like, man, that what they're doing is amazing. Like
Yeah.
it's just like, and it feels like it feels different than what other people are doing.
Yeah.
And I still feel like I kind of get that energy from people where like, it's what they're doing is still derivative of everyone else and everything else, but they also, they have some they have some other sort of like tool that they've kind of polished.
Yeah.
I think.
So I mean, yeah, you're right. One thing that stood out to me that you had said is how that holding on to jokes. It's not the joke that contributes to the overall performance. But no, I'm saying it wrong. What was it?
It's about making the next better joke.
Exactly. It's about making the next better joke. And I thought about that. I've thought about this extensively because I see professionals where they are now, but all those jokes that they tell on the main stage, that where they're at now, was rooted or seeded really at an open mic.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't know what you're gonna say. You don't know what you're gonna say is gonna be funny. You don't know what's gonna hit. It might be funny to you, but when you're writing jokes, there's a lot of jokes that I've come up with that I've performed that I thought were funny to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I get to an open mic and I perform it and it goes flat. But for the ones that do get laughs, those are the ones that you carry on. And when you keep carrying those jokes, they slowly blossom. And now you know how to handle that joke from different angles, from multiple angles. So now you can come at it from any kind of way, no matter what you're pivoting off of, no matter what you're coming, no matter where it's at in your set, you can still get to that joke some kind of way.
Have you revisited in like any of your like really old jokes?
Yes.
Because I feel like that's been a cool experience for me. Is like I've had premises or jokes that I say regularly with people. But like I was never able to like kind of turn it into a performative joke, like because you're trying to convey a bunch of different things, and so like something that you can say to someone right in front of you isn't going to translate to.
All right, I want to play this because this is one joke that I use all the time. It's kind of like a cheap joke, but this is when I would be setting up the camera. I would say I learned how to set up cameras by watching R. Kelly's sex tape, and like that's just a cheap laugh. It's just a good way to like just kind of break that ice to get into the moment. And hold on, let me play it real quick. And you probably won't hear it. You don't have your headphones in.
Shoot.
All right. Yeah. I learned how to set up cameras by watching the R. Kelly sex tape. Like when he set the camera up and he was like acting out right there. Diabolical that man was, boy, I tell you.
I like it because it's everyone's staring at you while you set up the camera.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it immediately alleviates that like this dude, like because all everything is this dude.
Yeah.
Setting up a camera. Because I kind of when I like bringing in the tripod to like record myself the first time, it's kind of like I feel like this is a joke in itself. I feel like
seriously, yeah.
I'm not that special. I shouldn't be recording myself. That kind of
no, like I'm setting up for America's Funniest Home Video. What am I doing?
Yeah, exactly.
Like I'm gonna play this at the family reunion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like, yeah, it's a good way to make fun of yourself. Mm-hmm. It's a good way to pick fun at yourself because it's just like you said, they're looking at you anyway. Like, what the hell? Mm-hmm. And the fact that I didn't have a tripod, I was setting it up. I propped it up against the back of a chair. So like that just made it even better, So, and I'm pretty sure people are a lot of people have made sex tapes at home. So they know the struggle.
I wanted to try next time I did the open mic. I wanted to try immediately grab like as soon as I get up there, like the moment, just grabbing the microphone and saying something. Because I feel like I spend too much time like setting up, and so I want to like. Oh, sorry. I turned it away. I spend so much time like setting it up, so like I want to like get up there and just like immediately kind of like say something and then set up while I'm talking. Like, I want to try doing that next time.
I don't want to overthink that. Because like naturally I'm gonna because like so many people have this stuff set up beforehand and like it's a good way to or like pretend like you're running back to your phone and like hold on real quick and like run back and like and just keep the mic with you.
Mm-hmm.
Because the mic is wireless, right? Where's it? No, it has a wire on it.
It's at Where's Rufus is.
Yeah, Where's Rufus is wireless. So you can be like, hold on, and you can run back out and like talk, have the mic in your hand as you're setting up the camera.
Place, though. Like,
Rufus is a place, isn't it?
It's like it just feels. No, but I guess it's kind of a gratifying thing to be like, okay, I'm gonna go bomb here. I'm gonna go to. Man, I really like when people listen to me. I'm gonna go to a place where no one listens to me. like.
No, yeah, it is that kind of place. It's like if you are attention starved, you will not like. you will hate it. You will hate it because nobody's paying you any attention.
But it's also funny. Like I'm imagining like the person at the bar that's like, I'm gonna go sign up for the open mic, and then they think that's open mics.
Yeah,
they think that's what it's like to be a comedian. It's me go up on this dirty bar and no one listened to nobody listened to the joke that I thought was funny. Because like I said, there are so many people that like it is crazy. Because I've seen like I want to say in the time I've been doing like 8 months, I've probably seen like 5 or 6 people that like aren't comedians at all, but like have gone up and done like really good.
Really?
Yeah, I've seen a few people that have done like I think pretty decent for like visibly not being a comedian.
Right.
Just like I remember there's one girl that got up there and she was just talking about how, she's not gay but her boyfriend is, because she dresses like a dude, and so she just talked about how gay her boyfriend is, and she talks about all the manly things that she does.
I think I remember seeing that chick. Did she talk about how like she wished like her boyfriend had like a set of tits or like a
I don't think so.
That wasn't her?
Maybe.
It might have been her. But it was funny though. It was like a play on like on hentai porn, and it was like like I just kind of wish my boyfriend was like a hot chick with a dick.
Well, I mean, we can wish, but we still live in the real world,
But it was that the premise was actually really funny. But I guess she was like one of those people who just did it at. Like kind of like a spur of the moment.
But I just think that I feel like that to me is like I don't know. I think that's more authenticity, more cool when you see someone that's like not a comedian, at least go up there and tell a joke that kills.
Yeah. And shout out to them. Kudos to them, because I mean, like they're just going on stage like I said earlier, like some people look at us and it's like we're magicians because they don't even understand how we can get up in a position where we have a microphone in our hands. Mm-hmm. And everybody's paying attention to us. Like they could never.
I think, and like I said, I think I haven't been I haven't been a naturally social person. It took me waiting tables for 6 years till I finally had the confidence to go tell a joke on stage, and because I don't think I would have been had that had I not had that experience.
Yeah, that experience.
And so I think like all these things are muscles. Like people have real issues. Like people, like when people tell me, like people talk about their anxiety, that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Like I believe them. Like, but I also do really believe that like if you don't ever like exercise that, if you don't ever try, then you're just gonna stay stuck.
Yeah,
you're gonna stay stuck in this awful place.
Awful place, 100%. You're gonna stay in that awful place, and so it's necessary to try yourself, to really work those things that you don't necessarily realize that you have.
Because I don't think my goals as a comedian are necessarily related to comedy. I think it's just I want to have the confidence to go and talk on a microphone. Like it's just like I just want to have the confidence to say here's a crowd of 300 people. Mm-hmm. This is what's happening. Go talk. Go fill time. I think that's a good feeling.
I'm so glad you mentioned that. I'm so glad you mentioned that because that just rekindled a memory just now, because I went to a comedy workshop. Most of the people there were just people who wanted to be funny at work. Mm-hmm. And I was blown away by that. I was like really blown away by that, because I'm like one of those people at work, and I've been in corporate environments and stuff like that, and I'm just myself in those environments. It's not like I've ever, I've never shied away from, saying what was on my mind, and I'm just a really likable person when I'm at work. I've always been just a likable person, and not everyone thinks I'm funny, but I do have a attitude that I carry where I try to be, where I try to get a laugh or a smile out of my coworkers. A lot of people don't have that, and I didn't realize that was and I'm not trying to be self-centered right now and say that it's a natural gift of mine, but the number of people that just wish they could do that. They just want to have a more sociable way of communicating with people at work. Like maybe get a laugh here and there, just be able to get to the point where they can say what's on their mind.
I've always heavily depended on comedy in just like growing up, because like comedy is just like that ADHD of like, I need this person to like me. I need this person to like me. And so like I'm gonna make a joke and then they're gonna laugh, and you can't fake a laugh. And so now I know this person likes me.
Yeah.
And it's a very shallow way of thinking about all that stuff. But that's always been my mentality of like, I gotta get this person to like me. And now I think like one thing I think I respect in a lot of people is like your ability to fill a room. So it's like whenever this personality enters this room, it's obvious that they're there.
Yeah.
And that's an even greater thing when everyone likes that person, because there are people like that. This person's in the room, everyone knows they're there, and they're not having a good time.
Yeah.
But I think it's a cool thing when there's people that they're like more. I think a lot of people could benefit from being loud and proud. I think that like just that idea of like, I am who I am, and I'm gonna make sure everybody knows. And so like people, I think if you can, it's more of that confidence stuff.
Your energy is your currency, and when you step into the room, it's just like you say. You can either be one of those. You don't want to be that person that brings the room down, because there's a lot of those people. Even at our level, there are people like that. That when they walk into the room, it's kind of like, and then you want to look and see where they sign up, because you don't want to go after them. You want to go. You want to go in front.
I really feel like I'm noticing that in my day-to-day life too. It's just like it feels like comedy's helping me in a weird way. Because like, I feel like I'm getting attention from people that before I just wasn't. Like you know, it's just my boss liking me more, that kind of thing, and it's kind of a goofy. It's just like I feel like I've learned more through comedy of how to be like present and like and how to interact with. I don't know. It's just more muscles. I don't know.
Yeah, no, you're right. You get a chance to be hyper aware of your thoughts as you're saying them, and hyper aware of the things that are coming out of your mouth as you're saying them. So you can kind of curate how the conversation is going to go. You can bend it. Like you can't just, it won't veer off in an alternate direction, but you can steer it, and you can use the words to steer things in order to evoke the emotional or probe at what they're trying to get at, or probe, or just get some answers out of somebody. So when you're trying to, so it helps you do. It does help you be more socially inept. I mean,
aptitude.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you have some a bit of social aptitude, and that's one of the things you have to. There was a guy who said that I was socially talented, and that was something I had never heard before. He was like, "Yeah, you're just one of those people who are socially talented. You can steer a conversation, and also that you can read the room very well." And you know what kind of energy that the room is putting off, and you know how to handle that. And so I never even, not once has that thought ever even occurred to me.
But I also don't like that mentality. I don't like when people say things like that, because it's also like, I think it's an attitude of like of presence, like present. Like people talk about people in the present, like they're not talking about like all what it took for you to become that kind of person.
Yeah,
because like I think like anybody can. Anybody can do that, and I think stand-up comedy is nothing like it's. I was saying like it's a creative expression, and I was saying it's nothing special. Like I don't think everybody can do it, but I don't think it's anything special.
Right.
And so like I think it's just the idea that you learn through failure, and so like. When I think of me socially, I've said this, then that, all the bad things everywhere, like I just feel like I've put my foot in my mouth at every single corner, every single where,
Of course,
you say something racist and you're like, man, I really didn't mean for that to come out like that.
Yeah.
And now everyone just thinks I'm, a dirtbag. Because I think I almost had this mentality, like, it's like that kind of level of edginess too, where I think it was like, I would say things so like out there as far, and not even necessarily racist, but just like I would say things that were so out there, and it would be more like I was saying that out of like Walker would never say that, Like Walker would never say this stupid thing.
Right.
But like as if like that was the joke. Like is that I said that.
Yeah.
But now they're thinking is Walker thinks that.
Yeah.
Well,
so. Man, there's so many layers to what you just said, because like there's the audience, they don't know you, but you're presenting yourself or a character of yourself that they're getting to know. Like that's not you, of course. Like you know that, but they don't. They actually think that who they're seeing on stage is actually who the person is. Yeah. And another thing that you had said, crap, I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh yeah, about the pushing the limits, like saying something that's racist or saying something, but you have to push those limits because you don't know where it is just yet. Because I could say something, it's just like I could say something and it's like punching down. I think we had this conversation before where we talked about this. Like I can't do too many self-deprecating jokes because I'm 6'3" and I'm black and I'm handsome. And I'm not, this is not me. I'm not self-centered, but I do recognize that I'm an attractive man. I'm like, so I can't go around on stage and talk about how ugly I am. Like nobody's gonna feel that. And it's just, it speaks back to what we were saying at first about authenticity. It's like, does this person like, what are you doing? Like who wrote that joke for? Like people, the audience can, and that's another thing we have to understand. If we're dealing with a really smart audience, like we're dealing with a well-educated, really smart. I mean, the things that you say, they're Googling it. Like I've seen people do that, like jokes that I've said, like that made reference to, something that's going on right now. They'll Google it in your face, like right in front of you, So like, you're dealing with a smart crowd. So it's good to push limits because you don't know the character that you're portraying. It's like someone like you could get away with something that's racist. It's like, imagine how many times McLovin can get away with saying the N-word.
Once.
No, he can get away. He can get away with it once, like or Michael Cera. Michael Cera could say the N-word once, and everybody would think that shit was hysterical.
I don't believe you.
If it was out in a movie, he could definitely bust it out. He couldn't say it in private. Nobody could be recording him in private, and say it. But in a movie, he could definitely get away with it because it's his character. Because he puts off the persona of somebody who's like rather harmless, like somebody who isn't. Like you can tell by looking like this guy doesn't look like a racist. And at the same time he looks harmless. So like somebody like that could probably push the envelope really far with like certain topics and like actually get away with it and make people laugh. It may be an uncomfortable laugh, but he's not going to be on the front page I'm speaking to my age here. The front page of the newspaper, saying that this guy's a racist. He says this and that. Like,
I wish people looked at comedy through the lens of understanding that it's like people trying things out and amateur and because I don't know whenever the comedy club first opened up I did the first open mic over there at the new place, and the person that went right before me they just said a bunch of things about gay people in Tyler. They just said about a bunch of hateful things about gay people in Tyler, and it just didn't make any sense. And it was just some random dude. But like I just think like I wish people kind of like looked at the lens of like anybody can hold a microphone, people are trying things out, and so like I feel like those kind of things like really turn away people. So because you hear that one thing, like and no one like us, most people aren't like us and engaged in comedy and everywhere. So that you hear that one thing and you're like, comedians aren't cool.
And see, that's another thing. I mean, we do have a social responsibility. We are, especially. I mean, we're not superstars. I didn't think we had that. I didn't think that came so fast. No, sorry.
No, I'm listening. No, I'm not.
I didn't think that happened so quickly. I didn't think that happened so quickly. I didn't mean to use those words. Is what I'm saying. Well, I didn't think that happened so quickly. I didn't think that we would be judged by the things that we were saying because we were still just trying to figure this out. We're just trying to figure it out. We're trying to figure out who we are, who our character is on stage, and how we can tell jokes. We're just trying to figure it all out. But we're getting held.
Being judged everywhere you go. Everyone's staring at you. Everyone's looking at you. Like you're constantly being judged. And I think that's just like it's just impossible. It's impossible to live this life of like worrying about anyone else because it's just like because I think that's because that's my big thing is like I have a big problem I think where it comes to like I've got to make sure that everybody likes me.
Yeah.
And as far as comedy and everything, you're gonna stand up there and tell your jokes, and people are gonna roll their eyes, or like you're not gonna make everybody happy. You're not gonna make everyone laugh. And so I think because it's like you may make everybody in the crowd laugh, but there's like probably one person just thinking that's stupid. I could have said that. Like like that, there's nothing. That's not a good joke. Like and so I think it's just like all that kind of stuff. Like, you're always constantly being judged everywhere you go, everything you do, and so like you just
yeah. I mean so, but I mean for someone we don't know. Like I said, we don't know who we are, and so for someone who's coming off the street trying out comedy and still being held to those same standards, it's kind of jarring, but I don't say don't get stuck there, of course. Don't get stuck there. Push past that point. I think everybody who wants success has to get to the point where where it's just water off your back. You don't think about it. You say what you're going to say. People are going to like it. Some people are going to love it. Some people are going to fucking hate it. Some people are going to want to punch you in the face. They won't. For the most part, they won't. But, you're not going to get everybody's attention the way that you want it. So that's taking that personalness out of it. It's just like you said, man. What we're doing isn't special. You give the right person a set of jokes, you give them the right training, they could probably do what we're doing in a heartbeat. It's and there's nothing that we could do about it. What does make us special is our own personal flair that we bring. And I think that if you focus on that, don't focus on anybody else, especially when you're first getting started, because geez, if you're one of those people, naturally it's gonna happen that way. You're gonna overinflate it, especially in your head. You're gonna think about like, holy shit, like what if somebody records this, puts it on, I mean, there was this one chick that went viral a few years ago that had like this really quirky style of comedy, and people hated it. And she was doing an open mic. And you can tell like she's just one of those people just trying to figure it out. Wasn't anyone famous, just someone at an open mic and just was doing jokes that she thought was funny and presented it, and it went viral. Like I can't even imagine if something like that. Like I can imagine like on some of my worst days, on the days that I've bombed, something like that going viral for the world to see. And this is how I'm presenting myself to the world now. Like not honestly, it would be better for me. Honestly, if something like that did happen, that would be extreme. That would be some hella motivation. And honestly, it might lend you some spots. It might help you out. But like, to come out like that when you don't know who you are and when you're trying to figure that out, to be put on blast like that, I feel like that was something that was lingering in the back of my mind when I had first started.
It's always it's where you stand and the world around you. It's just the world around you has nothing to do with you. I think that's where I was going to add something else, but I can't quite remember. I was thinking like, shoot, I lost my train of thought. It'll come back up, I imagine. Or I'll think of it in a
second. It'll come back. Give it some time. But I think but to say that what we're doing is insignificant, regardless if like who knows the type of people we will be 2 years from now, 5 years from now. Nobody knows. But if it all does play out, then of course it would be worth it. And if it turns out that that we end up doing something that's totally unrelated, but still, but this prepared us to go down that road. I think that's still a successful comedy career.
Well, like I don't know, communication. I mean, like communication delivery. The communication delivery. Trying to think of all the skills that comedy would even teach you. Like I like just communication alone. Even if that's the only skill.
Even if that's the only skill.
Yeah.
It's just back to like I said that workshop. I had no idea. It was just people who just literally just wanted to be funny at work, or just wanted to be able to come out of this shell. I was expecting to see like other amateur comedians. No, it's just people who had corporate jobs, people who worked in tech, who are in front of computers all day, that just don't that want to know how to appeal to their fellow coworkers, or perhaps appeal to their boss.
I don't think there's many things like comedy as far as like. It's a niche. It's a very niche thing, but it's built to appeal to a mass. And so, like, when you get into comedy, Like all these little small things, only comedians are thinking about those things. But it's
Yeah.
all built in a way to make everybody laugh.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything else like that. Besides maybe outside of like production. Maybe outside of anything that's not entertainment. I can't think of anything else that outside of that would be like built in a way that's like very niche, but built for the mass.
But for the masses. I mean, outside of that, only thing I can think of is like military training.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like there's something about working together, the brotherhood that comes along with it, just being active, being in sync with one another. Like outside of that, I don't see there's not too many other things.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you can get those same things from like, you know, like playing sports, even playing pickleball, you know, just doing active physical things together.
Mm-hmm.
I think it builds that same sort of social bonding. And comedians, it's kind of like you're not the one that's doing the social bonding, but you are curating it.
Mm-hmm.
Because the crowd is your what you say on stage is depends on how somebody's relationship is going to go in the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
And I try not to think too heavy about that, but it is the truth. I mean, if somebody's going to pay for a ticket to come out and see you, that might be somebody's first date.
Mm-hmm.
Or that might be somebody taking their coworkers out for entertainment.
Yeah, even though you think it's all about you, it's not.
It's not. Yeah.
It's not about you at all.
Mm-hmm.
I keep losing my trains of thought. I'm bad about that.
Well, how about we move into this? How about you have your jokes here?
I don't know anything interesting I was going to talk about. I keep going around and telling a couple jokes to people that like my favorite ones are the small ones, and then the small ones that I can like, because people will be like, tell me a joke, you know.
I hate that.
No, it's awful. It's awful, but I feel like I've gotten a couple jokes that I'm like proud of that I've been able to kill every time I was talking about.
Yeah.
I was saying how and you probably heard me say these ones. I was saying like, you know, I have a love-hate relationship with the man in the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
On one hand, I hate him because he stands for everything that I hate in this world.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, he's taught me everything I know about kissing. So that's when I can tell at a bar and I get a big laugh. I like that a lot.
That's a good one.
I don't think I have anything otherwise than that slip covers joke. Is that I'll say it because I didn't say it on the microphone, but it was
what's your nervous joke?
What's my nervous joke? Oh, it's my box of condoms expired. It was buy one get one free. So now I have 2 boxes of expired condoms. So
that's a good nervous joke. That's a good one to pull out. Yeah.
It said Boy Scouts taught me always to be prepared. I was.
That's a good one. That's a good nervous joke. That's a good one, and it's good to have those like. And those are some really good break glass just in case.
Well, and I think those are good ones because it lets people know that I'm awkward as well, and so I think it's kind of like leans into that. Shoot. Now I'm switched lanes and I can't. But as far as my comedy, I think I'm trying to write more jokes. Like I want longer jokes, just a little bit more. Just like I want things that I kind of round out.
Mm-hmm.
I think I might have 2 that I could bring up, but I was saying how like because a lot of my jokes are like set up in punchline.
Yeah,
and I think a lot of comedians talk to me about like Burt Mitchell because that's his comedy of just I want to make something very very simple. That's relatable. But I wrote a joke. Here it is. I think if I had a drug dealer for a son, I'd feel like a failure.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just know that they'd probably make a lot of money because they'd be like a hustler just like me and probably sell a lot of hard drugs.
Mm-hmm.
But I would just be too worried about them. You know.
Mm-hmm.
I think I took dare really seriously. Like I only drink and smoke a lot. But like, I think the only time I would try hard drugs is on my deathbed. Like, because you can't get addicted to heroin if you only have 2 hours to live, you know? And so I think the problem with that, though, is that I have to have a drug dealer that's willing to bring heroin to a dying old man in a hospital. So I guess the more I think about it, I do kind of want a drug dealer for a son. And so I kind of want jokes that are kind of like more like that, where there's like each line is a small joke, but it kind of all rounds out at the end.
At the end, yeah. I feel that. That's where I want to get. That's where I want to get, because my jokes are a little bit long, and I wish they were sharper like that. Mm-hmm. Well, not wish. I'm getting to the point where they are going to be sharper like that.
I think Ty is so good at telling a story. Like Ty Duffy.
Ty Duffy. Oh yeah.
He's so good at telling a story, and I think he started comedy like a month before me. Mm-hmm. And I like talking to him a lot, because I just feel like what he's doing is just like a completely different muscle than what I'm thinking about. Mm-hmm. And because he was saying how he doesn't think he likes how Tyler and I can sit down and talk about a joke and think about a joke and like try to find a punchline. Yeah. Because he was saying how he kind of feels like it sounds like when he's talking about it, sounds like to me like he wants the punchline, and then he can kind of like flesh out the story. And,
he's Ty and I are similar in the way we come up with jokes. To me, I have the punchline first, mm-hmm. and then I have to figure out how I work myself to that punchline. Mm-hmm. But I wish I had it opposite. I wish I could go set up punch, and that's the same exact thing that he's trying to do right now. But you can tell he's been working on it, and he has gotten a lot better. I think it's about like you have like a thing, you have something you're going to say, mm-hmm. and then I think it's just more writing of like laying it out and like what could I put here, mm-hmm. or how could I change this? How can I change this line that was set up mm-hmm. to being set up but funny? Yeah, I think that's like someone told me their joke about someone was telling me their joke about how they just mentioned this long-winded thing about this, that, and the other, and they were relating it to like Netflix and chill, you know. And my only advice was them is that's a really good joke, but I just think you just need to change Netflix and chill to anything else, like just because it's just another app, another place for you to like get a laugh, because I think Netflix and chill is relatable. Yeah, I don't know what that is, but I think if you just change it a little bit, I think you get a little little extra laugh. That here. wording is essential. That's what Clyde Williams, he's a veteran that I've been, that I seek mentorship from, and he wanted me to work on my wording, mm-hmm. because I have this one joke where I talk about how I voted for Kamala, but I bet that Trump would win. And he said, okay. He said, that's a good joke. He said, that's a really good premise. He said, go back and work on that. He said, you should add things to it. You say, I voted for Kamala at the polls, but I voted for Trump in the casino. Mm-hmm. Like it's not the whole joke, but that's mm-hmm. one of those things. It's one of those lines that hit. You can get a laugh on.
It's like, and it's more setup, because you have to set it up and then you elaborate. And then like because then you can just repeat the line that you said, Yeah. You say the voted for Trump in the casino. And then you just repeat the same thing, but you just say I voted for Kamala and I bet on Trump to win. So it's just more like additive. I just mean like what, because all I'm thinking about is just like how can I tune this a little bit more. I think that's the attitude that you do with jokes, but also. There's some ways just not this, there's some, I think sometimes there's just not another way to say something. And so maybe there's not a way that you can put a joke in there. But that all comes into that all comes into your voice and your
I think it comes at a certain time. And like I said, that's another thing that's where your natural gifts, you have to use your natural gifts. Like you can speak a little bit faster than I could. I would have to slow down just because my voice just carries a different way. Mm-hmm. So when I say a joke, I can't be too wordy. One of the people, a person who's local, who has really mastered this is Ed Moore. Mm-hmm. He and I have like very similar styles. Like our voices. He has a deeper voice, and so like he slows down a little bit, and his jokes are less wordy, but they're so good. Mm-hmm. And so like you can and he's not dry though, but he's not too dry. He's like, He's not a dry comic like how
Blunt.
Tyler is, or how thinking of that one guy, or like I'm trying to stick local. I'm trying to think of that one kid's name, but he's dry too. But anyway, but yeah, he's not so dry, but at the same time, he does slow down. He uses less words, and his jokes are still on point. I like that about Ed. Like I take a lot of notes.
I think the persona that Ed Moore plays the most, I think he can lean into the best, is just like annoyed black guy.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's like it's just like he could just talk about the world, and I would listen to him. Like he could just talk about the world. It's just like him being really annoyed, and I would listen to him.
Yeah. Pissed off black guy. Yeah. Just like, oh my god. Like, he has that. Oh yeah, he does have that sort of style, that rhythm to his voice, and that you believe him.
Mm-hmm.
He has that one joke where he was talking about how he thinks that his boss used to be a pimp. Have you heard that joke? Oh, man. Really good. But he's like saying he thinks that his boss used to be a pimp because like he says, like I noticed that as a black man, I noticed that my boss says things that sound a lot familiar. Like, man, wait, this nigga sound like he used to be a pimp. Like, so I'm butchering it, but the way he does it so good.
I like his joke about he's like about how he's always been overshadowed by other Eds.
Yeah,
like Ed and Eddie, and like he just lists off a bunch of like Eds. I think he's really good at like having a premise and like hammering like this one this one bit until it's like dead, or at least I don't think I've seen him enough, but I love that
man,
a lot.
Ed is like one of those people, man. I'm like, man, every time he gets up, I'm just like amazed by what he does, and it's like, it's fun. I think that's the best part about being in East Texas, is that you really get to watch everybody grow.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so amazing to like watch people go from where I saw them a year ago to now, and it's like night and day difference. You'd think they've been doing comedy for like a long time, but like, from a lot of people here have been doing comedy for maybe like 1 or 2 years, except for like, the obvious professionals that have been doing it for a while. But mostly everybody is pretty much where we are.
Mm-hmm.
Just trying to figure it out, trying to figure out their voice, and at the same time, like getting better over time, working those muscles,
mm-hmm.
just like you said. Like, it's amazing to see how far Tyreek has come along, Ty Duffy.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing to see. It's amazing to see how far you've come along.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember when Ty Duffy was at the old Rose City, and it was like he was like a little embarrassed. He had his hat down low. He didn't even have his hat backwards. Like, his hat wasn't backwards. It was like kind of low down right above his eyes. And he went up on stage, said a few things, and it was kind of like, like pretty much like reading from a script, but just trying to figure it out.
I think again, it's just like that leading into your persona and like feeling comfortable on stage, and
mm-hmm.
like leaning more into your character, or this and the other, because I'm trying to stay focused on like being me as much as possible, like being me, and and then anything else, I want, if I'm saying something, I want to believe it, like
mm-hmm.
I want to believe it,
mm-hmm.
and then I want to. I am like exaggerating these things,
Of course.
But it's like still it's. So I think that's definitely the attitude, is just like people now they're just more comfortable being themselves on stage,
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool.
I think that's it's really interesting to see that the people who are there, the people who are there that are comfortable with themselves on stage, it's really good. It's nice to see that.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice to see that, and it's good to see where because you can kind of see everyone budding and slowly where they're going to be about a year or two from now.
Mm-hmm.
But to see where everyone is at right now, and to see them be more comfortable, that's why I'm trying to get y'all to go out of town, man.
Mm-hmm.
Ty had spoke to me about I think he went to Dallas not that long ago,
mm-hmm.
and he got a chance to see like different comedians that were from other towns and the surrounding areas, and got to see like some guys who were like actually,
mm-hmm.
really killing it. Not to take away from what we're doing. We're doing very well, but these guys are other professionals. So like we get to see like the other professional comedians that come from, different places.
Mm-hmm.
and I think it's really good to see those people as well, because the vibration is different. The frequency that they carry, their energy is just a little different.
Have you do you feel like you've experienced like competition as far as like comedians? Like do you like, because I don't
sure.
we're definitely not at that point, but it's like
no, for sure.
It's like,
for sure.
I feel like that's a like, especially where we're at in East Texas. I hate to have the idea of like being worried about what someone else is saying, or like trying to make someone else look bad, like these weird like competitive aspects of things. Because I feel like, as far as like being an amateur comedian in East Texas, I would like for everyone to be very honest with themselves and be like, we're not doing anything like we're not doing anything crazy. And so I think it's like,
and I think honestly there's enough for everyone. I think there's enough for everyone, that if you are trying to perfect your craft, your audience will be drawn to you. Mm-hmm. That's another thing. I mean, being in a small area like this, we forget that the world is so big. Mm-hmm. And so it's important that we pull away from the competition that we have with each other, and understand that we're all just trying to perfect our craft. Mm-hmm. And once we get into that, and I think that's what East Texas is actually really good at. Mm-hmm. Shreveport is a good place to be. They do have a strong community, but it's like you're kind of more so on your own. Mm-hmm. It's like, because Shreveport is just naturally a showbiz town. They actually have like big name comedy clubs with big name comedians, mm-hmm. and you have casinos, mm-hmm. and you have comedians performing at those casinos, and so they put themselves on par with those people, and so they don't have this sense of togetherness. I'm not saying that they're not, because they do have a strong community there, mm-hmm. but you have to be actively involved to mm-hmm. get recognized in that community.
I do really want, like, I do, like, I want the big comedians in the area.
Yeah.
Like, I want them to be at the open mic, so that it just like kind of shows people where the bar's at, or how high the bar can be.
Yes.
And so because I think that's the attitude of like, it's just enabling each other. Because it's like, I think it's like, if you're gonna do really good mm-hmm. one week, you kill the room, and I definitely do want that feeling of next week someone else is gonna come back and they're like, I want to do better. I want to do as well as they did, or that kind of thing. But I definitely don't want everyone to be. I don't want anyone to be like.
Yeah, I don't want it to get
put down.
Yeah, I don't want it to get so competitive to the point where we get siloed off. I want it to be a good, healthy competition. Mm-hmm. To like, but that's why I also want more people to be more available as well. Like what we're doing right now, being able to sit down and talk with each other about this, mm-hmm. and just talk about the things that we've experienced so far. Just being an amateur comic and trying to put together jokes and just put together a good set. Mm-hmm. Like more conversations like that need to be had. Mm-hmm. Like, and there are a lot of people, just like I said, like Kevin Hollingsworth. He was one of those people that worked with me early. He saw something in me and was like, okay, this is what you do. You mm-hmm. need to do this. He was the one who told me like, okay, you need to start recording yourself. Because I told him like for the longest, like I was freestyling my jokes. And I still do it. I freestyle a lot of my jokes, but it got to a point I hit that glass ceiling, and I was like, okay, how do I push to this next one? You have to start writing jokes. You need to start writing this down. Okay, how do I write a joke? Mm-hmm. And I didn't like the way that I was writing jokes, and so like I came up with a whole format in how I write jokes. And I don't want to get too deep into it. I guess we have time, but I would write a line, and I'd leave space in between. I'd get a notepad. I'd write a line. At the top of the page, I put it like this. Mm-hmm. I write my jokes the way I used to write songs when I was rapping. Mm-hmm. So I'll put the title of the song at the top of the page, and then I'll go bar for bar. Mm-hmm. So that's what I do with the jokes. I put the premise at the top, and then I write down the first line, and then I skip a few lines, put another one, skip a few. And then I'll go back and I'll fill in those spaces. Mm-hmm. So that way it's like sit up and then punch, or like sit up, lead, ad lib, like all those different things that add into the joke or add into the element. And then I go back, read it, and then I'll do like a rough draft, mm-hmm. and then a final draft, and mm-hmm. then I have my joke. Mm-hmm. But for the longest, I think I showed you that when we were at Where's Rufus that night, I recorded. If I have an idea, I record it, and I would just go back and jog that and jog that. I jog the memory of the joke. I listen to the recording, jog the memory of the joke on my way to the comedy club, or sometimes like before I get on stage, and then I do the jokes when I get on stage,
Mm-hmm.
and then from that I'll derive what the final joke is going to come out to look like, because I was skipping a lot of steps,
Mm-hmm.
and it really wasn't helping me the way I thought it was, but I simply just didn't know any better.
Mm-hmm.
But so
I do like how
it was. I would have to get to a final point at some point. I'd have to get to it. I mean, this is what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
At a certain point, you have to perform the joke.
Mm-hmm.
You have to perform it,
Mm-hmm.
and to me, regardless of how you came up with it, regardless if you wrote it down, regardless if you thought it up, if you just wrote it down, 5 minutes before you went on stage, if you wrote it down an hour before, like something that you came up with that day, you have to perform it at some point. The audience is going to let you know if it's funny or not.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, it's about just getting the joke out, and I can weed it out later.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I use these open mics for. Just getting the joke out. I can work on that later, but I have to make sure that I can have something to refer back to.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just using my voice notes to refer back to, make references to, or the recording. I would record myself when I would go on stage, and I would use that to refer back to. And I'm like, okay, this is what I need to work on. This is how I'm going to trim this down.
I like your process because it's like it is very like it is like rough draft, and it's very like building because my mentality towards jokes is just completely different.
Mm-hmm.
It's like because I just kind of like it's just because my jokes are so simple. Like it's just one set up punchline.
Yeah.
And then I've talked to Jason about this. Jason
McAdams.
Yeah. Because I think the way he writes jokes is a little similar to mine, where it's like trying to cut it down to the core of the joke, and then kind of like building off of that. So taking those two things those are funny, and then adding another two things, and those are funny, and those things kind of fit together. And he's given me some advice on like how you can kind of like put these things together into something that's more cohesive and more long. And so because I think that's more of that my attitude towards jokes is like trying to break something down into the smallest thing that's funny, and then hoping to add something else funny on top of above it or below it.
Yeah, you're right about that, and I think see, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think there's a writing style for. I don't think there's a like cookie cutter way to explain it.
No.
There just isn't. I think everybody's gonna have their own way in how they come up with jokes, and I think that was the problem with me, because I was thinking that there was. I thought there was a way where you are supposed to do it this way, and you're supposed to. And it's like, no, like once you. And I've seen professionals do it, and they like from the workshops I've been to, and you can see like the joke format and the formula and all that. But like I said, once you get the formula down, and I see professionals do it, they're still going based on that formula, but they can add so many things to it and still be on point with the joke. Like everything would flow, and they could do callbacks and like do add-ins, act outs, all these different little things that add into the overall joke. And these smaller jokes that lead up to this bigger joke, and it's like it's amazing to watch.
So I like the way that you're describing building a joke, because you have like that kind of backwards reference, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
like having those rough drafts, because definitely like if I describe my writing process of I feel like the best jokes that I've had or like I've come up with have just kind of came to me.
Yeah.
And so like I feel like it'd be poor. I'd feel like I couldn't give good advice to someone on how to tell a joke or write a joke. I mean, or how to write a joke, because I just feel like I don't even remember where I got like this inspiration.
Like that, yeah. I don't even know where I even got this from. I mean, aside from like the things that have happened to you in your personal life, of course, like you make fun of yourself or you poke fun at an incident that may have happened to you, like past experiences, all those things, of course. But how that got from here to stage, it's like I can't tell you.
Because most of the time I'll have like kind of like an idea of like just a small thing of like there's like I want to write a joke about Fruit the Loom. I don't have anything else about that. That's all I got. I want to write a
just
joke.
Just the premise. All you have is Fruit of the Loom.
I want to write a joke about Fruit the Loom, just because I think people know what Fruit the Loom is. Like that's pretty much all I got. Like, so there's like a lot of things like that where I just like I'll have something kind of like, I think there's something naturally funny in like something. Shoot, I don't know. Just
but I mean, isn't that just how? That's where the talent kicks in, right? That's where the talent kicks in, right? You can pretty much point out anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just like I could probably come up with a joke about these chairs in there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I bet I can look at these chairs and see which ones people have had sex on.
Mm-hmm. It's like there's a lot of casting couches.
Yeah,
many
casting couches. Like, just there it is,
yeah.
And there it is. So I mean, like, part of it is the gift. Part of it is that social awareness, that hyper awareness, the ADHD that you have,
mm-hmm.
and then some of it is, it's other factors that get brought into it. But I think that's the uniqueness. That's the art of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the uniqueness that you bring to comedy, like your perception, how you see the world.
Mm-hmm.
Like two artists could argue about the color of this wall all day long.
Mm-hmm.
One may call it, one person it may be yam, and to the other person it may be burnt orange. One thing
I think about a lot is how we've always had the things you do and the things that the things that you know and the things that you do.
Right.
And for hundreds of years of humans, the things that you know and the things you do, and they were pretty on the same level,
Yeah.
So whatever you're educated in, those are your skills, and this is what you apply yourself.
Yeah.
Nowadays, because with the internet and everything, everyone knows so much more than they do.
Yeah.
And so I think,
but don't you think, what that's what kind of gets me, because even though you know more than what you do, it comes out, you just can't speak on everything because it comes out inauthentic. Unauthentic.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like what you spoke on. Like, I think the audience of comedy is changing, because you just can't be someone speaking on anything, because they can feel it. They know if you have an intimate relationship with what you're actually talking about or not. They can tell.
I think you when you say something, like, no, I think like when you say something, you got to be about it.
Yeah.
Like, and I think I think that might have been what I was going to bring up, was that like, shoot, when you say something, you need to be about it. Like, shoot. Man, I'm going crazy. I'm sorry. I'm going crazy. It's like on the tip of my tongue.
It'll come to you. But I mean, so even though we're inundated with so much data, there's only so much that you could actually talk about. Honestly, there's only so much that the audience is gonna actually pay attention to as well.
Oh, I realize it.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Sorry, before it gets away.
Yeah, go ahead.
I get so sick and tired of people. I think because I feel like I deal with it in day-to-day life. Where instead of people giving you a yes or a no, they give you a maybe. And in my opinion, a maybe is the same thing as a no. Because if a no action is the same thing as a no. And I think that really irks me and it bothers me. And so I can respect a lot whenever someone has beliefs, has something, and they stand on it.
Yeah.
And I think the reason people do that, like you give this yes, no, maybe, is because you don't really want to pick a side. You don't want to pick a side.
Yeah.
And so I can respect anybody that knows where they stand and is gonna say something, even if I disagree with it. Like I just really want to be that way myself. I want to like have my opinion, and like even though I'm a human being, I'm gonna be wrong. I'm still gonna stand on it. I'm gonna say what I think, and this is how I feel. And I feel like that's the authenticity that I'm looking for with people.
Yeah.
It's like you should have your beliefs and you should stand on them.
Yeah.
And you should always be challenging your beliefs. And I think that
constantly. It shouldn't take someone else from the outside. It shouldn't take someone from the outside to challenge you on your beliefs. You should have enough in you, enough wherewithal in you or about yourself to challenge your own beliefs. But I think that's hard for a lot of people to do. For a comedian, I think it's a little easy, because I think we see the world in such a unique way, and in a way we also make fun of ourselves and our own beliefs that we end up challenging ourselves inadvertently. So You're absolutely correct about that.
Mm-hmm.
Very true. Very true. That's just like you said, a maybe is a no.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how it should be seen. And because that's how your audience sees it.
Mm-hmm.
And regardless of how we try to spell it out or not, they do see it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to know intimate details about it too.
So it's like, yeah, having your beliefs, and then like, and when you speak on something, you should know about it.
You should know about it.
But I think also, but I mean, there's also a level of that. I mean, where you can admit when you don't know something.
Like I think that's the reason why like street preachers are so convincing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, have you ever come across like a street preacher or somebody like that, just speaking the word of God, and that knows how to pimp the word of God? Have you ever come across something?
I don't think I've ever seen it like a soapbox person. I was like, I know this guy's fit. That's never happened to me.
No, I need to bring you to some places. I need to take you to some places, man. There are a lot of people who are like that, and it's because and I don't want to pick fun at nobody, but homeless people. Mm-hmm. You find that homeless guy that just has that Bible in his hand, and you'd believe that he was sent by God himself, mm-hmm. because he is speaking from a level of conviction.
Yeah, I think
a place of absoluteness, mm-hmm. a place of like he definitively is in his yes, mm-hmm. in that moment when he's speaking to you, because that's all he knows. But I feel like he could do the same thing. I feel like he could sell you a can of Coke the same way. Mm-hmm. Or, so
I think in the past I didn't want to say this or that because I didn't want to be wrong, mm-hmm. And I think it's kind of sad in a way that the world is kind of set up in that, where you reward people for saying things even if they're wrong. That's just how the world works. It's just
we don't reward accurate information. We only reward your delivery. Mm-hmm. We reward your delivery because it sounds good enough. It's entertaining enough.
I think before it was like I was so afraid of being wrong, but now I'm just kind of realizing that I'm just human, and like, mm-hmm. And there's a middle ground there. Is where uh-huh. where I can speak in authority and I can pretend like I know what's going on when I don't.
Yeah.
Because that's how everyone else speaks, and so
mm-hmm.
it's like. I should be kind of like on par with that. I don't know. I'm trying to like learn how to navigate conversations with more like articulate people. Like as far as like, it's kind of a crazy feeling when you run across someone that like, is like very like this person could like, I don't know, just they can do so much with just their words.
Yeah.
I think that's a kind of an uncanny feeling when you when you're talking to someone and you just kind of realize that they're just like, because I think it just presents itself so quickly that you can tell that like, this person like
that this person knows that they know what they're talking about. Yeah. They come from it's not somebody that's just a copy and paste version of somebody else. Mm-hmm. It's someone who actually knows from experience. You can feel that. Mm-hmm. You can feel that because, I mean, like say for instance, I had a joke about futanari porn, mm-hmm. But I'm not gonna joke. Tyler has a really good joke about futanari porn, and so I'll just kind of like scrap mine because I liked his so much. But there's sorry, no. but there's intimate details about that. There's subtle details about that you won't pick up on unless you watch it. Mm-hmm. And somebody in the crowd, they're not gonna laugh at that. Like if it's somebody that's speaking from, like I said, a copy and paste perspective, you're gonna miss so many things that people are actually, because what makes somebody actually interested in something? A lot of the times it's not the end result, of course. Mm-hmm. It's in the details. It's the subtle details that make people that draw a certain crowd of people. Mm-hmm. And if you're not delivering on those details, or if if some the person that you're communicating with, if they're not picking up on those nuances that only they thought they knew, mm-hmm. that's what cracks them open. Because then it's like, oh wow, holy, like I thought only I did that. And that's what I like. I like having jokes. Like where I can touch with people on that, where it's like, oh shit, apparently I've never had an original thought. I like that, because then that's what gets that big laugh. That's what gets that big. It's no longer a chuckle now. it's a big laugh because they can relate. It's personal now.
I think generally you as a human being, everybody, like it's like building a foundation, a base,
Mm-hmm.
and then building from that. And so much as humans, we just get ahead of ourselves and like you see the nice cars, like the money, you see the wealth, and so and like you see like the prosperity. I think that's probably the good word of just like you can see the comedian telling the joke that gets the big laugh, but you don't really understand all the things that go into that. Like and so like you kind of get ahead of yourself, and so like, and so like it's about building that foundation or understanding all all these little nuances and like developing like I think it's just like we know things as humans, like we know things are great, but we don't know why they're great. Like, and I think a good example of that is like I think it was in Vietnam. No, it was like it was in one of those African countries that was like there were American soldiers that were occupying this area, and the villagers there, like they saw like the Americans like marching, saluting, and they like doing all dancing, doing their things.
Yeah.
And all that the village did was they just copied the Americans because they saw like the prosperity that they had.
Right.
And all that led to them was the demise of their village. Because they don't understand anything about Americans.
Right.
Know?
They don't understand how that came to be. They're just seeing the end result of something else, and that's their starting point.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's unfortunately that's literally how trends work.
It's just
like
it's just the world.
That's how the world works.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we see that end result, and we take that end result, and we build our base from that, not realizing all the small things that went into that. They don't see the discipline, the XYZ, everything that built up to that moment. On a very similar situation, I was thinking about this not too long ago, but the word "gyat." I hate.
You hate it?
I hate. Oh my! Because I know where it comes from, and I know how people are, and I see how people are using it. Like really, it comes from like people saying like "yeah,"
Yeah.
And now it's a word, it's a verb now, or not a verb, but
now it came from
and so now people are going around like, and it's not only does it sound corny, it sounds terrible, but like like they're just using it out of context, and it's like and you get tired of hearing it really fast, and I think that word has done a lot of, I think that word alone has done done more damage.
Like I feel like that term has been a thing for a long time, but I feel like it was trendy for a little bit.
It was trendy for about, what was that, like 2023, 22, somewhere around there. It was around COVID era.
I think there's like a thing about like terms and language it's funny how like some things I think the idea is that if something is trendy, like a language or like a saying or that kind of thing, is something's trendy, it's a lot less likely that it's going to stick around. And so, but there are some things that kind of like can fall underneath the radar, and those things end up get added to the language. And so it's like something I think that like lock in, like I feel like that's gonna be around for
I think that's gonna be around for a long time, because and the type of people that I see using it as well. Like it's not just something that I see a bunch of kids. It's not like skibbity. It's not like skibbity or gyat. It's not none of any of those. I see a lot of professionals using lock in.
Mm-hmm. There's they've got the.
Is that the band
church
up there?
Yeah, I think they're getting ready.
Yeah,
for
I think it's time for us to go.
Is it picking up?
Yeah, it is.
Well, the last thing I was thinking. Well, we talked about a lot of different things. If we were to do this again, we should. I think it's like we just have like a topic list, so that way we can kind of
so we can touch on everything.
Well, no, just so that we have like a cohesive like order, and so that way it's like we're not jumping from thing to thing.
For sure.
And because I imagine if you're gonna listen to this back, it's gonna be hard for like just to talk about so many different things.
No, yeah, because I mean, our ADHD got the best of us at certain points, and we were kind of like back and forth and back, and so for a listener, that will be hard for them to keep up.
No, but it's been good.
But this has been good. This has been good. Thank you so much, Walker Moore. When is your next open mic, or when is the next time that anyone could see you, or if someone were to hear this? I am going to post this online, so if someone listening to this,
is this by itself?
Yeah.
All right, I'm at the Comedy Club, the Rose City Comedy Club, every Monday. Doing my best as an amateur comedian to do everything I can to learn how to be a better comedian.
Absolutely.
Hopefully more to come. That's about all I got.
Absolutely. I think anyone that's going to go back and listen to this, I think they're going to be. They get to see your inaugural.
I dream to be on a podcast listener now.
No, yeah, same.
Thank you, Kleintel. I appreciate it.
Hey, no problem. And we're gonna have more of these as well. We're gonna have more of these. Thank you so much for coming out
No problem.
and doing this. Thank you.